All right, this is the first miniature project I've ever made. I made a little dollhouse for my best friend. I didn't intend for it to be used as a dollhouse. It was more so like a little display she could put on her shelf or something like that. But I recorded the process and everything that I did to put it together. I know it might seem like a crazy project to do for her, but I wanted to make it because we talk a lot about our childhoods and girlhood in general, and she actually lost a lot of her toys from her childhood, so I just wanted to make it for her. But I got this from Michael's. It's a little castle, little wooden castle. It wasn't the sturdiest thing in the world, but I really loved it. I was initially going to make something much smaller and just do one room that was really detailed. And when I saw this castle, I fell in love with it. And I ended up not using that little small piece, but I started gathering all of the items that I wanted to use. So I started out with ribbon and fabric that I already had on hand. And then I just dove into my craft box. So I found these little rocks that I had used for a previous craft project. I got these gold flakes and some stickers I thought maybe I could put on the walls. This was an old necklace that I've had for forever that broke. And I also had a gold little mushroom pin. It's pretty heavy. And then a mushroom charm as well. And this used to be on a necklace. And I also had this little keychain that an old coworker made for me with little mini crystals and a mushroom as well. And then these were some bangles that my aunt got me from India. And then these were from an old Avril Lavigne costume. I thought maybe I could use them. And then I had some fake plants as well and peacock feathers in my craft box. So I thought, might as well. And then these were some trinkets that I had on hand that I got either from Ren Fair or just some random places. This was from Ren Fair. And a little bottle of bones. These are mini bones. And I also had little Beatrix Potter things that used to be on pens, and I broke them off. Little Peter Rabbits. And then shells. I thought that I might use glitter, so I got it just in case. This is a card that she gave me for my birthday one year. These are little fidgety magnet rocks that I thought I might be able to use for either the floor or as decorations or something like that. And then I got some felt from Michael's as well. I bought this and intend to paint it. And I got some charms that were on sale, so I did not pay full price for these. I got these on sale and I was so excited. But I was planning on using them on the walls, sort of like frames. And then I got a couple little mini decorations to start off with. If I could describe her aesthetic, it's sort of like a dark academia, goth, Harry Potter. And she's an artist, and we intend on being pen pals because we're doing long distance right now, a long distance friendship. So she also loves herbs, plants, and trinkets. So that's what I was going for. And here I'm just kind of brainstorming where I want things to go. And I was really struggling with the amount of rooms because they're kind of small. So I really was okay, trying to figure out where I wanted to put each piece of furniture that I wanted to make and how I wanted to paint the walls and things like that. So I really wanted to make it feel like a medieval castle, kind of, or at least like a castle from a fantasy series. So I started putting these down. I thought maybe they would work great as a base at the top of the castle to make it kind of look like stone. And I do really, really like the way this looked, but the other stones were much lighter, and I didn't want this to be super, super heavy for her. And these are also magnetic, so it was kind of hard to lay them out flat, and the other stones were just much easier. So although I preferred the look of the magnetic ones, the blue, white, green, sea stones, those I ended up going with those. But I started laying down my fabric and figuring out which rooms I wanted them in. I had the idea of using this as a chandelier in the entryway and putting it on the ceiling, and I just kind of started figuring out where I wanted to put my little charms in the walls. But yeah, this was just me figuring out where I wanted everything to go, kind of brainstorming. And I was just so excited to make this project because she and I just love miniatures. We love finding little tiny things when we're out and about, and it was also kind of challenging to find items that I thought she would like instead of myself, because I think just about everything is cute, but I was shopping for her, not for me. So it was really fun in a challenging way. Then I just kind of started looking for junk in my house. I was looking at junk and trash that I could glue together to make tables or chairs or furniture. And then I found some ribbon that my grandmother had gifted me, and I ended up looking through a lot of my stickers and pulling out some more because I realized I had a lot more wall space than I originally thought. So I got some craft supplies together. I found this paper that I'd used to scrapbook, and I thought that, the wood could maybe use for the floor. I might be able to use the others for like a mural or something. So all of this I thought maybe I could put on the walls and make it sort of medieval. I thought these would make cool little like tapestries or something like that. And my mother actually grew up with a dollhouse that she fixed up, so she gave me some of her old dollhouse furniture, and I was so excited. So I think some of these items might be from the 70s. A lot of them are newer. I've also helped her decorate her dollhouse. She was really excited to help me. These are actually pencil sharpeners. They are my grandmother's, and they're really unique little pencil sharpeners, and I loved them, and I wanted to use them. I don't know when I would ever use them other than to display them on a shelf, and I would rather put them to use, and I thought they were special. This is some flooring and wallpaper that my mother also gave me, and she actually had to rip out and replace the staircase and railing in her dollhouse, so this was what's left over, and I'm planning on using that. I also got some more craft supplies and started putting items in the dollhouse to see where I wanted to throw everything together. The staircase I was planning on building items with, and sort of using it like for a bed frame or for a table and things like that. So yeah, at this point I pretty much knew where I wanted the items to go. I planned on having a bedroom, kitchen, pantry, apothecary type room, and then a laundry room, an office, and another room sort of to serve as like a little artist's room. And so once I'd got everything sorted and knew where I wanted to go, I had to do the boring part of decorating the outside. So I had to set aside the dollhouse furniture. And after drawing a pretty basic stone outline with pencil, I just started painting. And I wanted to keep the outside pretty simple because I didn't plan on her having it out. The inside is probably what she was going to display and be looking at. So I painted the outside, and then I started painting the walls on the inside. And after I painted it, I put a matte Mod Podge layer over it, just to kind of seal everything in. I did that on the inside and the outside, so everything that I painted was sealed. I probably should have sanded the wood before I painted, but I really just didn't care that much. It really wasn't difficult to paint. There were only a couple areas that I needed to go over twice. And I went to the Renaissance Fair as I was working on this, and they had a cauldron of trinkets that I could scoop from. So I scooped and got all of these trinkets for, I think, $10. And a lot of them were just perfect. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I can use all of these for my little dollhouse. So I separated them into piles. And I got this Harry Potter bookmark from a bookstore, and this dollhouse furniture actually came from a toy store near me. I walked in and all they had was old Fisher-Price stuff, but I was like, works for me, I can paint it. So I got all of this for I think $5 or $10. Then I started painting furniture. So I got this little cabinet painted, and I just watered down brown acrylic paint to do that. And then I sealed it with Mod Podge as well. I was using matte for the furniture because I didn't really want it to be shiny. And I was also using it to adhere things. So I didn't use glue, I just put Mod Podge down and then put the stones down. And I also did a layer on top of the stones to seal them in and make them a little bit smoother. And I also used it to adhere my fabric that I cut up and plan to use as flooring. So the felt I put in the middle on both of the bottom floors. I wanted everything to line up and match when she closed the castle. So that's kind of what I had in mind. So everything was lined up so that when it closed, it would be the same flooring. So once I'd adhered the flooring in each room, I began to figure out where I wanted to put the furniture. But as you can see, I used fabric for each flooring except for the kitchen and then the little hallway right there and the office on the left over there. That was actually paper that I had cut up. So everything else was soft carpet, and I used some wallpaper that my mother gave me as well. And then came the fun part, and I got to start figuring out where I wanted to put the furniture. And this was so fun, decorating it and taking everything apart. But before I let myself get too into decorating, I did start making the furniture exactly the way I wanted it to be. So I cut up some fabric and started making a bed with the leftover railing from my mom's dollhouse. So I glued all of that together and then just kind of shoved every item that I wanted in each room, so that I knew exactly where I was going to put things. And I did plan on adhering the items. I knew that she wouldn't be playing with it, and if she moved or wanted to put it on a shelf or something like that, I wanted everything to stay exactly where it was supposed to. And this was actually my favorite item that I made in the entire dollhouse. The cabinet turned out so well, and I loved putting all the tiny items in it. I put little stuff in the cabinets and in the drawers, and it just turned out so cute. And I just absolutely fell in love with it. And everything was super glued down. And after finishing all the details on this item, I got so excited to finish the rest and did not record it. But here's the finished product. These are all the rooms. I'll talk about each one in detail. I ended up not using any stickers. I printed off a lot of paintings and posters on just regular printer paper, and I thought that looked a lot better. So in each room you can see paintings and posters, and I just sized them on my iPad, the right size that I wanted for each wall. This is her little artist's room, so I rearranged all the books on that shelf, and I also spread out all of the paints and paintbrushes on that little table, and that dollhouse furniture was painted by me. It did not look like that in the other clip, if you remember. But it was so fun arranging everything, and the glue down there on the floor I just thought was so funny, and I also put some bats on the ceiling, pretty much all the rooms, just to make it feel more like a castle. But this room was super fun. And this is the laundry room. I just cut strips of fabric and then I glued it together and stacked it up. And in all the rooms, I also put little beads on the wall as decoration. And on this one, I put buttons and then a fake flower on the ceiling. I thought that the buttons were fitting. And then I'll show you the entryway. This is probably my second favorite room. I absolutely love this room. I think that the tea set and candelabra are so adorable. And all of the wall decorations in this room are probably my favorite. I had a difficult time gluing down the fake plants, so I got acorns from my yard to cover up the mess. And then I did use the little bracelet as a chandelier. I put a lot of bats on the ceiling, and I love the walls. I love the walls. It reminds me of Pirates of the Caribbean, and I just fell in love with the little mini swords. I think they're adorable. But yeah, I think all of the decorations in this room really came together. It is probably my second favorite, and I just absolutely love it. She loves the band Ghost, so I put that front and center. But yeah, this one really reminds me of like a room that I would picture in my mind in Throne of Glass or something. I was so excited and proud of myself when I finished this room. And then this room just kind of serves as a little hallway. I ended up using beads along the sides of the staircase after I put the items in the rooms because I thought it just looked a little empty. I wanted an extra pizzazz, so I put beads on the sides, and this one I used a lot of light beads and I thought it looked pretty. I also put gems on the ceiling and beads on the wall. I have the Princess Mononoke guy right there, and a Harry Potter poster in the back, and yeah, this room is probably the lightest one of all. I just kind of wanted like a herb plant focused room, so I also hit a Pride and Prejudice painting on the wall in here. And then this is the pantry, and I don't have a ton to say about this room. I just put little bags of like salt and flour in there under the staircase, and on the barrel I had little mugs that I put acorns in. In my brain, these beads and acorn on the wall were like a little sconce, but I don't know if that translates. But I think this room is just cute. And then here's the kitchen, and I was going for kind of a witchy vibe in here. I didn't quite know what to do with the walls on the left, so I just put some gears there. But I put bats on the ceiling again, and I really liked the poster in this room. I thought it was really cute. And then I actually have stuff inside the oven as well. The paint doesn't look great in this light on the oven, but it's not too bad in person. And I also put some sweet tea on the top of the oven because girl loves sweet tea. So I thought that was cute. And then came her bedroom. I was so excited to do this room. Low-key, the bed looks terrible, but it's okay. It just turned out really crooked. But I do like the color scheme in here, and I wanted it to be tall so that I could put stuff underneath the bed. And I do like the way this turned out. I kind of hid it a little bit with beads, I think, but it was not my best work, but it's okay. I put the heart from the card that she gave me on the ceiling, and then I hung the necklace off the ceiling as well. I put some books on the bed that I thought were right up her alley. So we have some fairy tales and then like a Slytherin book or something like that. And yeah, this was super fun. I liked this room. I put a little picture of us in there, and we always say that we're the sun and the moon, and that's a picture of us dressed up as the sun and the moon at Ren Fair. So thought that was fitting. And then this is my favorite room. I just love the way the cabinet turned out. And yeah, so I put some wood and the axe in there, and then the wood stove, and I got a little butterfly frame, put that on the wall, and I just absolutely love this room. I just fell in love with it. I'm not super crazy about what I did on the ceiling. I just put a bracelet and some beads, but I think it fits, you know? And oop, there's a cat hair right there. Let me get that out. Okay. While doing this project, I found that I was so excited and I loved it so much that I definitely want to keep doing miniature projects and making tiny doll houses or sets and things like that. I just found so much joy in it. And this one was an interesting project to start with because it's geared towards such a specific thing, a specific person. And I did find that really fun. It was challenging. So I think I might try and brainstorm and come up with some other ideas to do of specific topics, like maybe certain holidays or books or things like that. Time periods even. I don't know. I just had a lot of fun. It was really fun challenging myself with this, and I know I want to do more. This room is sort of supposed to serve as an office. I built that table out of the staircase, and I have a lot of packages and letters in here, as well as a globe. Her and I are planning on being pen pals, so I thought that this would be a cute little room to have. I love arranging the tiny items on the tables and cabinets and whatnot. It's so fun to take them out of their packaging and just arrange them in a very natural way. And this is another little hallway. I love the color scheme in this room, and I love the beads that I put on the side of the staircase. I also did a little key wall, and I wanted that railing to look like railing. So I put that underneath the window. And yeah, I'm really happy with how this came out, and the Harry Potter bookmark as well. I liked it on the wall right there. I think this room has the best colors, but I kind of ran out of items to put in there. But here's the entire castle. I am so proud of myself because this was really challenging, and I just had so much fun with it. Yeah, if anybody has any ideas for themed miniatures I could do, please let me know. I loved reading The Borrowers growing up, and I've seen The Secret World of Arrietty. I loved Thumbelina and A Bug's Life. Any situation in which I could picture myself being very tiny was such a fun concept to me as a child. So I really felt myself getting in touch with my inner child as I was doing this, and it was really fun and exciting. It felt very whimsical, and I was so happy to do it for someone. And I think I might have discovered a new passion of mine.